Hi, I wanted to make this video about a future of abundance, and I think I'm gonna have very hard time labeling this video because the concepts or ideas are very strange, and many people they do not think along these lines. And I did some videos on singularity and deflation, and but they didn't have much following because I think people they're not geared to these ways of thinking. Um, Anyhow, I'm very happy. I moved into my new offices. Here they have a very nice conference room where I can make my videos. I tried my own room, but I have now two offices, and both of them very nice. One is like a rest and relaxation, and the other one is my computers and all the gizmos and stuff I need to upload. Plus, they have very fast internet, so I really came out ahead, and I'm paying the same. It's really nice, and the place is very pretty. But I don't know if people will take to these videos, because you need to kind of know a little math, and you need to be very well read, and kind of smart, and these ideas, they don't appeal to general population because they give up too easily on analysis, and the analysis in this case is very complex, or more complex than most people want to deal with. Anyhow, I was attending the lectures of the Sufi master, and he said that his lectures or ideas are not for our present generation, but they belong to a future people that they have greater understandings. The most people, when they want to make a model of the future, they take the most simple case or ideas, and they usually use a linear progression. For example, say you have a input-output box, and you put the input, you call it X, and the output you call it Y, and the input has a linear relationship to the output. Say, for example, Y equals 10x. Okay, so if you have x equal to 1, y will be 10. If you have x equal to 2, y will be 20. And okay, but and the nature or society is not so simple. The things do not work out linearly in reality, in nature, in economics, or in anything. Okay, that's crap. That's the extremely simplified model, and there is no such thing as linear progression in nature. There is no such thing as linear progression in economics, in economic growth. Nothing. And this model is extremely primitive. The next step would be to make a least square progression, which means that y would be ax squared plus bx plus c, and so on. That's a little better approximation. If you have several data points, you could get a nice curve that will wrap around those points. Okay, but that's still extremely limited, extremely simplified. So what I'm trying to get at with these ideas is that many economists and prognosticators of the future, they look at the data that's there for the past, for example, the stock market or the bonds and the interest rates and so on, and based on the different performance in the past, they make some kind of linear or least square approximations to try to come up with the future. Or they take the most influential actors or players like the Fed or the bond vigilantes or politicians into consideration and make some kind of assessment of the future. But our economy and our society, the way it's going with all the technological, disruptive technological advances and economic changes are so disruptive and so rapid. Changes are so rapid that these models, they all fail and they fall apart. So what I did was to look at the progression of many commodities and many industries and come to the conclusion that the technological advances will just continuously, regardless of where we are at now or where the economic situation is or what the politicians want or not, we are marching towards a future that's a zero marginal cost society. That means that the artificial intelligence systems, the computer software, the automation, the advances in material sciences, the nanotechnology, they will continue to make things cheaper and more accessible to many people. So there will come a point that we'll have robotic machines digging into the balls of earth and grabbing all the silver and gold. I mean, where would the price of silver and gold be if it was only a question of how many robots we have that can dig in there? I mean, the ultimate price of all metals and the ultimate price of all commodities, all agricultural products, all clothes, all services like teaching or accounting. The ultimate price per hour per item is zero. Okay, because this relentless technological advances is leading us into a technological singularity where machines and software they will produce everything at very marginal cost. So even though we have a future of abundance because the technology will make it so, but as a human beings we are not constructed as such. I mean, if something like that happened right away, you will have many people who will lose their jobs, and many industries will totally go belly up, and you will have a humanity that's completely pissed off. I mean, many analysts, they know this. They know there is some kind of collapse is coming, but what we have is economic and political systems and ways of thinking about doing things that are so outmoded. This means that technology has gone so far ahead of us that we are just totally like strangers in a new land, and many of our theories, many of our ways of making an income, ways of doing things are so outdated, so irrelevant, and so and that we are just going to be continuously let down and get pissed off and spend stuff and money on things that that are already there for $0. I mean, so basically, what I think will survive is that those people who don't have a mindset that says that this capitalism or new liberal philosophies or this way of doing this and that is the only and the best way. They'll become like some kind of museum piece, and they are unable to adapt with all these rapid changes. I mean, imagine you're an investor and you're investing in Kodak, okay, and you're making cameras that need film, and then the world around you is extremely rapidly going towards the CCDs and the digital cameras. Imagine this happened to every industry, not just to cameras, to digital cameras. Imagine it's happening within a year, within 2 years. How are you going to make investments and make money? Okay, that's one point. The other thing is that money itself, just like a product, money itself has collapsed in the value or the effort that the bank or the institution that issues the money has to make in order to create this money. For example, when the government issues dollars or issues yens or whatever, it costs them maybe a fraction of a cent, maybe 1/1000th of a cent, and that's simply the cost of electricity and distribution. And if the values of metals, values of products that they use, value of food items, value of fuel, value of electronics, value of clothes, if these values or the cost to produce them and distribute them, it collapses to zero, or what do you think will follow with the price of labor that is still doing this? Okay, it's going to collapse to zero too. So basically what I'm saying is that the future model for society, it cannot function on the capitalist ways of thinking or doing, and in fact it's not functioning like that now, and many or great portion of the money that comes into the hands of the little guys is either the money that the government created and spends on military or hardware, or money that comes through money that it spends on social institutions, or or the money that comes from old capitalist system that exists outside of the United States or advanced countries. What I'm ultimately driving at is that this system is dead, and it does not work the way most people think it will work, and it cannot be fixed. Even though we are going towards a future that's full of abundance, we need to rejig or think far differently about how money is or it's basically a social construct, and it doesn't have to be dollars or bitcoins, or it can be anything that the society says it's convenient for us to have it this way, okay? Because we still have to pay for some of the old technology that it costs money, okay? So we'll have the money in this way, and then other values would be either those products or services will be given away for free, or like email, or other forms of credit. But let's just think about what is the difference between email, which is freely given away, email service, because it's generated by a server somewhere, and let's say, for example, the apples that I buy in the store. Okay, so the two are totally different products. One is created and it costs very little money to create it, and the other one is apple, but the apple has to grow on a tree, and the workers have to go in and pick that apple, and then somebody has to drive it with a truck to the store. So all that stuff costs money, and the old technologies that are employed to do all this stuff, it costs money, which is basically. But imagine you are living in a future where we have humanoids or robots that are tending to the tree and pruning it, and there is a self-driving truck and a self-driving automated system that comes and picks up these and delivers it to a store that's fully automated, or the central warehouse where it ships it using drones, okay, or automated self-driving cars. So in each step of the way, the price can collapse to zero or close to zero, and so basically I think that many old economic systems, many old forms of credit, many old banking systems, many of them will fail, and but our abundance will continue in different forms, and we are going to end up with a humanity that's extremely pissed off, without jobs, without very confused what is going on, but all kinds of amenities will continue to flourish. So at some point people have to just wake up and get it that these old systems have died out, and we need to do different distribution of the existing wealth. But I don't know if this will be very violent, or basically the complexity of society and economic system will reach to a point that most people will feel very dysfunctional, very out of the place. There will be a lot of confusion or chaos to what to do with all this, and you can see some of it now. I think it will be much worse in the future, but after a certain amount of chaos, a certain order has to come in, that hey, these systems that they're there and they have died, it's okay, and we can go on. I mean, I am now very pessimistic. I think that I think like a Muslim, that many systems they are old, and they have died or they will die. It's okay, and there's no reason to sit and grieve. Well, I was reading some of the Buddhist theology, and actually Buddha said that many people make they grow this tree of desire, wanting something in a certain way, or they get used to a certain woman or a certain place or certain desire, and when the world changes, they lose that or is replaced, and then they feel a sense of loss, and they struggle like hell to go back to this same thing. And there was another book. It was called "Where Is My Cheese," and we just need to get used to the fact that the many changes, as often very rapid, within a year or two, are taking place, and just to continuously adapt to these changes and find income and friends and residence or whatever we need, it will be much easier. In fact, when I moved, everything got better, and I got bigger space and greater opportunities. So even though change is extremely painful, it's okay, and there's nothing wrong. So the future will be a future of decentralization, because many industries and many software and artificial intelligence make people quite empowered. They don't need the government. They don't need to have their money as dollar. It could be cryptocurrency, could be any other form they want, and their dependence on different existing social institutions or companies will diminish to almost zero. So that's basically decentralization, and there will also be a death of secrecy, because it will become extremely difficult to hide stuff. Everybody will have a million sources of finding the same thing, and the society will become quite ungovernable, because to govern you need almost radical democracy, and basically a lot of changes, a lot of infighting and chaos to adapt to these changes. Well, thank you for being in my YouTube channel and putting up with my rant. Please either subscribe and push the like button. Thank you.